Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In the early days of Islam, believing in Makkah came with a cost. To say I believe in Allah alone was enough to lose family, safety, and dignity. Faith was heavy then, and only those with strong hearts were able to carry it. And among those who paid that cost was Sawdah bint Zama radiallahu ta'ala anha, a woman whose presence was quiet but whose life carried depth, clarity, and purpose. She was not remembered for beauty or status, she was remembered for her faith, warmth, and sincerity. Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha was the daughter of Zama ibn Qais and Shamus bint Qais. Born into the Quraysh of Makkah, she grew up in a society shaped by idols and tribal pride. But when Islam reached her, she recognized the truth. She accepted Islam early, alongside her husband As-Sakran ibn Amr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, a man of faith and resolve. At that time, Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha was already a mother. Among her children was a son, Abdul Rahman ibn Sakran radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who would later grow up upon Islam and be martyred during the Khalifa of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So their Islam did not bring them ease. It brought hardship. They had no powerful clan to protect them, no shield from harm. So when persecution grew unbearable, the Prophet ﷺ gave permission to migrate. They left Makkah, they crossed the sea to Abyssinia, seeking safety under the just Christian king Al-Najashi. This was choosing faith over familiarity. They left their homes, their families, their language just to worship Allah in safety. So while they were in Abyssinia, news began to spread. News that sounded almost unbelievable. That Makkah had changed, that Quraysh had softened, that persecution had come to an end. And naturally, this news brought hope, because no matter how safe Abyssinia was, it was not home. The Kaaba still in Makkah, their families were still there. So Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha and her husband decided to return. But when they returned to Makkah, reality hit them hard. The news was false. Nothing had changed. In fact, persecution had intensified, and life for Muslims had become even more dangerous. And now they were back, exposed, exhausted, and vulnerable. It was after this return, after this crushing disappointment, that Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha's husband fell ill, and he passed away. She was now a Muslim widow in a city that had already proven it was unsafe for her. A city hostile to her faith, without protection, without a husband, and surrounded by non-Muslim relatives. This was one of the most vulnerable positions a woman could be in at that time. At the very same time, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was grieving. Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha had passed away, the woman who believed in him first, who stood beside him when no one else did. For the first time in many years, his home was quiet. There were daughters in that home, young daughters who had lost their mother. And yet his responsibilities did not pause. Revelation was still coming. Early believers were still being tortured and targeted. He was grieving as a husband, carrying responsibility as a father, and leading as the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was during this time that Khawla bint Hakim radiallahu ta'ala anha came to him. She spoke to him about marriage and mentioned two names. One was Aisha bint Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anha, the other was Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha. The Prophet ﷺ allowed her to take the proposal to both families. Khawla then went to Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha and said, "Do you know what goodness Allah intends for you?" Then she told her that the messenger of Allah had sent her with a proposal. Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha was surprised. This was not something she had expected. She said to Khawla, "I accept, but speak to my father." Her father, Zama ibn Qais, was elderly and blind. When he heard the name of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "He is a noble and honorable man." He then asked, "Does my daughter agree?" Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha was called, and he asked her directly, "Muhammad ibn Abdullah has proposed to you. Do you accept?" And she said, "Yes." And that yes was not just acceptance of marriage, it was the end of a very long road of hardship. After persecution, after migration, after loss, after standing alone. At the time of her marriage to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sawdah radiallahu ta'ala anha was a widow of mature age, shaped by faith and experience. Sawdah radiallahu ta'ala anha entered the household of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for several years she was the only wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no authentic report, none of the arguments, complaints, or tension between them. She was known for her kindness and for her ability to bring ease into the home. Later, when other wives joined the household, she lived among them with the same ease. She was comfortable in her place, and that comfort showed in the way she lived. She lived in the household of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a home marked by care, presence, and attentiveness. It was his daily routine to visit all of his wives during the daytime. He would check on them, ask about their well-being, and attend to their needs. And within this environment, as she grew older, Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha made a decision. She chose to give her allotted time to Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. She wished to focus more on her worship. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted her choice with kindness, and life in the household continued with ease and respect. Those who lived with Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha experienced her as someone who brought warmth and ease into the home. She had a light-hearted nature. At times, her words and simple humor would bring smile to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to those around her. Her presence softened the space, and yet this warmth was never shallow. Behind her gentleness was a deeply generous heart. Whatever came into her hands, she gave away. She did not hold on to wealth, nor did she delay charity. This is why Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha described her as one of the most generous of people. So Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha was remembered not only for the joy she brought, but for the good she left behind. And Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha once said that she did not wish to be like any other woman except Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha. This statement reflected admiration for Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha's inner peace, her emotional balance, and the calm joy she carried within herself. Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha also had a very clear relationship with wealth. She did not hold on to it. Once during the Khalifa of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, financial support was sent to the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a matter of responsibility and care. When a large sum reached Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha, she looked at it and asked, "What is this?" When she was told it was money sent for her, she didn't delay. She distributed it among those in need. She kept nothing back for herself. This was simply her nature. Wealth to her was not something to collect, it was something to pass on. She lived lightly attached to the world and deeply attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha passed away during the Khalifa of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. She didn't leave behind speeches or monuments, but she left behind something far more lasting, a life that teaches us that sometimes the right choice does not feel rewarding at first, that faith may cost before it comforts, and that Allah never overlooks quiet sincerity. Today, many people ask, if I choose Islam properly, will life become easier? Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha's life answers honestly, not always. But it will become meaningful, and Allah will honor choices made for him, even if the world never does. She chose faith when it gave her nothing in return, and Allah chose her to be a mother of the believers. May Allah be pleased with Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha. Jazakallahu khair.